Once I was going out with my uncle, and the car tire punctured, and we pulled over to the side, and I was in the car. I was about 11 or 12 at the time, and he called me out, and he said, "No, don't sit in the car. You come out here and see how a tire is changed, so that if this happens to you one day, you know what to do."
Hello, everyone. This is Diba Hassan, and welcome to our podcast. Today, we have with us Raiya Al Salmi, a female leader at OQ who has also been a core member of the Integration Management Office. Thank you so much for joining us, Raiya.
Thank you for having me, Deepa.
Raiya, our colleagues from all over the world have interacted with you or worked with you in one way or another, and they're obviously very interested to know your story. So, who exactly would you say is Raiya? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Raiya Al Salmi. I am a mother of 3. I have 2 daughters and 1 son. I'm currently struggling with homeschooling, just like a lot of mothers who are probably listening to this podcast right now. I've lived most of my life abroad. I've only been in Oman for 8 years of my total life. As for my career, I have a bachelor's in accounting and finance with economics from the University of Kent. And I've been with the group since 2008.
Raiya, you said that you are a mother of 3 and you also are struggling with homeschooling at this stage, like many other parents. But you're also part of a huge organization, and there's a lot in terms of the expectations at work. So how do you manage your work and life in general?
So it's a difficult balance, and there are days where I think, no, I'm not doing this right at all. But I've learned over time is not to be too harsh on myself, but rather do the best that I can of each, and also make sure that I prioritize. So I always reflect back and think about what my priorities should be. And there are days where, yes, I do feel like I haven't spent enough time with my kids, but I do think of the bigger picture and how I could compensate that at other times and try to be less harsh on myself as well.
So, Raiya, you are a busy person indeed, a very busy person. And I'm sure you are under constant pressure to get things done, since you are in a very important position, leading the IMO in a way and being a core member at the same time. However, like whenever someone approaches you, and I've experienced this personally, you just manage to smile at them all the time and treat them nicely. How do you really do this?
So I've been always raised from a young age to always be nice to the people around me. And it doesn't matter how busy I am. It's not your fault if you're coming to talk to me at that point in time. So I've always been raised as important to always smile and give people that are coming to talk to you the respect and the time that they need.
Being a female leader, what do you think has been the biggest barrier in your career?
The biggest barrier I would say was within myself. I think as females, we tend to underestimate ourselves, and we sometimes also put some blocks in our minds which are not necessarily there. So I believe once we remove those from our internal thinking, then the sky's the limit.
We see you busy all the time at work, doing different things, running in and out of meetings. Tell our listeners, what does a typical workday look like for you?
Typical workday is quite busy. We start 8 o'clock, so I'm here by 8. Then we have daily check-ins where I meet with all the work streams that are with the IMO, just to get daily updates on what are happening. And then the rest of the day is all about different meetings, just making sure work is done, making sure that we're progressing on the integration, meeting different milestones and targets.
Raiya, in this day and age where women are taking up so many different roles on a daily basis, in fact, how important do you think is family support for a woman?
So I think it's very important. I think I wouldn't be able to do what I do today and where I am today without the family support. I'm very lucky in that sense, alhamdulillah. I have a good family support, not just from my husband, but also from the rest of my family.
Is there an advice that you remember from childhood and follow it until date?
Yeah, so since I was a child, because my father is one of 7 boys, he had no sisters. And him and his brothers always used to tell me, being the first daughter in the family, or the first girl in the family, would tell me, don't let anyone tell you that only a guy can do this.
That's interesting.
So I was raised in that to be in that manner, that you be independent. You do things yourself. You don't need to wait for a male to help you do things. So I even remember once I was going out with my uncle and the car tire punctured. and we pulled over to the side. And I was in the car. I was about 11 or 12 at the time. And he called me out and he said, no, don't sit in the car. You come out here and see how a tire is changed, so that if this happens to you one day, you know what to do.
Wonderful. So you've been raised with the mentality where you were made to believe that it's not just a man, but also a woman who can do great things or just do things in general. You're a female leader today, Raiya. I'm wondering, have you faced any kind of resistance leading men?
So I think resistance can be from both. It's not necessarily gender-based. It's just a personality thing. And I think whether you're female, whether you're male, working with males, working with females, you'll always face resistance from different people in the organization. The way that I deal about it is to persevere and keep trying. If one way didn't work, then I try a different way until I eventually get to what I need to get to.
Talking about women in Oman, what do you think are some of the privileges that women in the country have today that they probably did not have in the past?
So I think we're very privileged and very lucky to be Omani women, alhamdulillah. Since His late Majesty Sultan Qaboos, it's always been clear that women are fundamental to the society and to the development, and we can see that with how far the country has come along over the last 50 years. So I'm very grateful for that, alhamdulillah. I believe that the leadership in the country is very supportive of women as well.
Absolutely. And I agree with you 100%. Raiya, is there a challenging situation from your life that you can recall?
There's been many challenging situations. I don't think any life is without its challenges.
So we see your smile all the time, but sometimes we don't know what's behind that smile. And that's not just the case with you, but with a lot of other people as well. So what is it?
So believing that life doesn't come easy. Life does come with its own challenges. Everyone will have a challenge in one form or another, but having faith and moving through it. For example, I did go through a challenging time a couple of years ago where I did not know if I would make it, but I maintained hope, I maintained my faith, and took it day by day, and alhamdulillah, came through and now came back stronger than ever, alhamdulillah.
Do you think that situation might have shaped your personality to what it is like today?
Oh yeah, definitely. It has definitely shaped me and changed me. It has refocused my priorities as well. That's definitely for sure.
Raiya, it is inevitable that someone like you has a lot of challenges on a daily basis. How do you tackle those?
So with daily challenges, I think it's always important to remember that life is always with its challenges. We shouldn't believe that life should be easy. The important thing is not to let those challenges bog you down, but rather is just try to break them down. Try to figure out, at least step by step what you can do to overcome that challenge rather than try to tackle the whole challenge in one go.
What do you think is the biggest barrier that can come in the life of a woman when she wants to climb the ladder of success?
I think the biggest barrier is ourselves. It's the belief. I know as women, we tend to underestimate ourselves. We tend to play ourselves down as well with our achievements, with what we've done. So to me, the biggest barrier is ourselves. We need to speak up a lot more as well and be more persuasive with what we want and pursue that route.
You are an inspiration to women, not just within OQ, but also beyond OQ. I'm wondering, who is your inspiration?
My inspiration has been my mother. My mother moved to the US in the early 80s, not knowing a word of English. And my dad used to travel a lot as well. But she managed, she learned the language. She used to raise us pretty much on her own because my dad was traveling a lot. My father also passed away when I was 21. And my siblings were much younger than I did. And she raised all of us for the last 14 years without my father around. And that's very inspiring, the strength that she has and the willingness and power.
And we definitely see a lot of that power within you as well.
Thank you.
So, Raiya, what is the advice that you would give to the next generation of female leaders in the country?
My advice would be to follow your dreams, believe in yourself, always aspire to do more and better, and believe that you can do it. Don't believe if you're told otherwise.
Thank you for answering those questions so delightfully well. We now come to a very interesting part of this interview, which is Fast 5. where I'll ask you 5 questions and you have literally 2 seconds to answer them. So, shall we start?
All right, let's do this.
Okay, great. Raiya, favorite TV show?
Netflix.
Oh, that's nice. You get time for Netflix despite your busy schedule.
I try to. Helps me unwind sometimes.
Yes, it does indeed. Okay, what do you make best?
A fruit tart.
Ooh, we should try that sometime.
Post-COVID.
Okay, sure. All right, drive or fly?
Drive.
Okay, so what's the maximum distance that you've driven so far?
The longest drive that we did was a 16-hour road trip while we were in the US.
Really?
We actually did that twice. The first time was from Houston to Denver, Colorado. And then we didn't think it was bad enough with 2 young kids. We decided to do that again, but this time go east from Houston to Orlando, Florida.
That sounds amazing. I'm sure you want to do it again. Have you ever thought of doing the Muscat Salalah drive?
Yes, definitely. That's on my to-do list.
Okay, wonderful. Sweet or savory?
Savory.
Oh, that sounds like me.
Yeah?
Okay, desert or sea?
Definitely sea.
Oh, that's nice. I think I'm more of a desert person.
Yeah, I'm definitely a beach person. I love to see the sea. That was one thing that I missed when I was in Houston, even though it is close to the coast. But it was quite a drive to get to see the sea. So I really love that about Oman, that anywhere you drive, you can actually see the sea.
Thank you so much, Raiya, for answering those questions and for taking part in this podcast today. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Pleasure was mine. I enjoyed the podcast with you today, Deepa. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for listening to us today, and please stay tuned. We will be back with another very interesting episode of the podcast. And other than that, if you are an OQ talent or you have an interesting story to share with us, please do let us know on communications@oq.com, and we will be delighted to feature you in our podcast. Stay safe and have a great day ahead.